Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning, we're going to talk about how your values influence your habits. So let's jump right into it. So I've mentioned this before, but money makes you more of what you already are. It is just a tool and is neither moral or immoral. It's what you do with money that makes it one or the other. So to some, this may be encouraging, and to some, this may be discouraging, depending on how you live your lives. But I would just say that we have all seen this done or carried out. We've all seen people who have grown great wealth and selfishly indulged or frivolously lost it all entirely. And we have seen others who have grown great wealth and made a massive impact on the world. So you can see examples in our worlds of people who have taken this and applied it in different ways to have impacts in positive or negative ways. So part of building a legacy is actually looking at who you are as a person. Now, looking introspectively can be very difficult, and I understand that. But if you have destructive habits, what would more money do to you, your spouse, your family, and those around you? Who you are actually influences what you would be doing with more money. So it could become a blessing or a curse depending on who you are. So when I meet someone, I typically ask questions about what they do, where they're from, or what they want to do in life, or where they want to go in life. I typically like to ask deeper questions because you get better answers. And in one instance, I asked a guy from Nashville who shared about his life and where he grew up. Now, growing up, he was told that in order to so-called make it, his opportunities would be limited to becoming a professional athlete, a rapper, or finding some nefarious means of income otherwise. Now, he went on to say and share that because of this being constantly communicated, that many people in his community, in his sphere, would take one of these, three paths to gain what they considered fortune, to really pursue that. Now, no matter what your upbringing or environment is, it's important to be reminded that there aren't just a few paths to wealth. And in fact, there are so many different options that would not entail you chasing the slim odds of becoming a pro athlete or a successful musician, or involving yourself in something that compromises your morals or values accordingly. These opportunities, though, come back to you and who you are establishing yourself to be. So what do you hold as truths about yourself and your life? So think about that specific question. Now, this may come from your faith, your family, values or traditions, or simply establishing a code of ethics that you have. But before you can align your habits, you need to consider who you are currently and who you are striving to be, because this will significantly change what ways you carry out life. Now, these habits will then push you to either indulge in unhealthy habits or healthy habits, which may seem obvious, but are not so obvious if you have not defined what healthy or unhealthy habits look like or are in your life. So every person has the same amount of hours per day to allot to whatever they decide to allot it to. We all have ways that we waste time and then we justify it. But unfortunately, I don't think most people actually realize how much time they waste. So if you're not sure whether you have good or bad habits and are not real clear on how well you're using your time, let's try something. So think about your day yesterday, as recent as yesterday. Look at your calendar on your phone, or if it's written down, and write down every appointment, meeting, meal, phone call, or focus time that you had. Then assign an amount of time that you actually spent on said tasks to each. What most will realize is that they have spent a couple hours in meetings, an hour working on a specific project, and a couple hours catching up with others on the phone or over a meal, but are unaware of where all the rest of their time went. Now, it's typically and generally recommended that we get somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of sleep per night. Now, assuming that you work a 9 to 5, let's assume you also work 8 hours per day during that time. Now, of course, for most, there are looming projects, tasks, and meetings that don't get done or get done after hours because of where you have to spend your time at work. But let's just assume that you get a solid 8 hours of work in per day. Now, when you have somewhere around 16 hours taken up by those two aspects, between sleep and work, where do you apply the remaining 8 hours of your day? Now, if you're trying to control the controllables, like I mentioned before, then what are you doing to control where your time goes outside of sleep and work? If you think about it, there's a lot of time to fill, and many of us may not be as intentional as we think with that specific time. Now, I really push the importance of intentionality, as I found that the more intentional you are with your time, talent, and resources, the better your life is and the more impact you will have, the more potential for impact you'll have. Now, intentionality seems to then breed intentionality. Now, this means that the more intentional you become in building the right habits in your relationships, this then influences how well you take care of yourself, which then influences how well you spend your money, and so on and so forth. So really thinking about the fact that it's not just one bad habit, it's the bad habit that breeds the bad habit. Or on the contrary, it's the good habit that influences other good habits. Now, my call to action today is to look at how intentional you are with the time outside of work and sleep. Are you filling that time to seem important or to look busy while not actually accomplishing what you know that you need to accomplish? If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time, enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.